Welcome, Pisces, to your Clash of the Malefics 28-year cycle deep dive video for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. Across the 19th or 20th of April, depending on where you are, Mars, the planet of action, meets exactly in a conjunction with Saturn, the planet of limitation, in the fire sign of Aries for the first time since 1998. 28 long years ago. In traditional astrology, Saturn is known as the greater malefic and can be seen as being a portent of ill fortune. Mars, on the other hand, is the lesser malefic, but here Mars is impatience and thrust, if not allowing things to happen quickly, can lead to anger and even rage. The combination of the two is particularly symbolic because Aries is the first zodiac sign and Saturn rules time. But Saturn is in its full in Aries. It doesn't like being here. It's very much more to do with outcomes and consequences, not the beginning of the story. So what will it mean for you, Pisces, over the next week, but precisely across the 19th and 20th? By the end of the video, you'll have a clearer understanding in terms of your energy, work, relationships, and finances. I'll also give you the chance to download your free factoid in terms of the astronomy, astrology, mythology, but also a deeper understanding of the planetary aspect. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive, but please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. So on the screen, Pisces is your event chart, and there's Mars and Saturn at 7:51. The big takeout, that's the first decant of the sign of Aries, which is subruled by Mars. So that brings more earnestness. But what does the second house represent? It's life foundations. It can be everyday money, but it can also be our values, but crucially, our sense of self-worth. Saturn's going to be in this part of your chart for 2 years. Chiron has been here full time since February 2019 and was blessed by that new moon just the other day. So if you have been thinking deeply about where your wound might be in terms of your value, that's something that could still be ongoing. But Saturn is going to ask you to be industrious in a practical way, to shape your talents and flair, often awesome, into something more structured over this next 24 months. But what about Mars? Mars is at home in Aries. It wants it, but it wants it now. It's about desire, but it is impatient. And that's why the cool, reserved energy of Saturn is difficult in this particular sign. Now, Mercury is also in the mix, which is about how we think, but it can also be about precision. So if you have a conversation about a debt or some costs, or you're negotiating to buy something, the combination of Mars and Mercury could make you assertive, and you could put across your message with a great deal of vigor. It's just that Saturn can, in some ways, dispirit Mercury, and Saturn can drain Mars of vitality. The second house, as I mentioned on the new moon video, is probably a good time not to be eating too many sugary foods. The second house can also be our enjoyment of things like alcohol. So Saturn over the next 2 years would be an ideal time to think about what you're consuming in terms of your diet. But that could, overindulgence could lower your vitality over the next week. And I just want to take you back to 1998 because the event chart then has remarkable parallels. Not least Mercury is conjunct Mars and Saturn, but it was retrograde. What was going on for you 28 years ago, if you're a little bit older? Were you restructuring your foundations? Were you going through financial challenges? Were you having to be a bit more savvy about your resources? Was someone being mean about what they owed you? All of that's possible. But what's very similar to now, the moon in Gemini and the nodal axis across the same two signs, but just flipped because they were in the reverse position at that time. Come back to now. There's the moon in Gemini, but it's in a powerful link to Pluto. Now, moon Pluto aspects, not the trine so much, can see us perhaps being so preoccupied with something, it runs almost uh, to the potential for being obsessed. But I think what this is doing is making you, this aspect, very conscious of the need for emotional stability. Not a surprise being a water sign. And of course, the North Node is in your sign, asking you to trust your instincts. All good. But you do have that bubbly alliance in your third house, quite playful and maybe even a little bit free and easy with resources, particularly anything to do with technology or software, or perhaps just going out and having quite a bright and bubbly time. But the sun is on the anaretic degree, so it's just about to move into Taurus. So over the next month, I think there's going to be some very important conversations for you that can be very constructive. But just to say, the second house here is just lengthening the question that the Chiron new moon asked you. And Saturn could very easily see you think down who you are, what you're worth, what your value is. Because we live in a world that's changing so quickly, one of the issues is isolation. Secondly, because of technology in other ways, our jobs are changing. And maybe you do feel rightly and understandably unsure about what the future holds. But one of your great gifts of many is your ability to flex. And second house energy kind of reflects Taurus. So you could, at the moment, be tempted with Mars and Saturn in that conjunction. Sorry to use a swear word, but you could be a little bit more bloody minded. So if you're talking to someone over a point of principle, that could be as important to you as the fact that they might have a different attitude to a possession, or maybe they're buying or selling something, or you could have an all-out discussion just about uh, the way things are, where your values really are abrasively different to someone else's. And because you have that reputation of flowing, absorbing, sometimes dissolving, you might surprise yourself by how you'll stand in your power over something you really protect and value. Good for you if so. So we can think about the other influences. We've got the moon in that trine with Pluto. We've got the beautiful conjunction here, going to be complemented by the sun. Haven't really talked about your traditional ruler. That remains to the end of June in a very potentially romantic part of your chart, but also good for speculation, which Jupiter appreciates being the planet of trade. So yeah, just to say the moon is in a very tender sextile with Neptune, your modern aquatic ruler. Another reason to really trust your instincts over the next week or so. Now, I'm going to summarize those four areas of energy: work, relationships, and finances. But just to say, Pisces, I've slashed the price of my personal horoscopes. You can now buy your life roadmap, which helps you to understand your life journey and the patterns within it, and get your 12-month transit forecast free, but also your draconic analysis free, which helps you to understand your soul or karmic journey. Please see below for more. Why? Because people are feeling the pinch. Two, I want more people to appreciate what I've gained and learned through astrology over so many years. Now, if you've yet to watch your Uranus 84-year cycle video on the screen, your April monthly forecast on the screen, if you'd like to work with me directly, please see my testimonials below. If you've yet to sign up for your free daily horoscope fired to your device each morning for your celestial pit stop, you can do so by signing up now. And yes, that factoid, it's underneath this video: Mars conjunct Saturn, the astronomy, the astrology, the interpretation, but also the mythology. Now, to summarize, I feel as far as finances are concerned, this could be a tricky period, but the next couple of years may need you to be more resourceful. But do know the combination of Mars and Saturn in a conjunction in people's natal charts gives them tremendous fighting spirit to keep going even when things are tough. So if things aren't as abundant as you would like at the moment, don't give up that you can get there, particularly with your huge welter of creative talent and flair. But if someone you're connecting to at the moment has just starkly different talents, you may be really needing to be realistic about that, Saturn. And however much you might get fired up and angry, Saturn might be saying perhaps you just need to accept. And then the movement of the sun into your third house suggests the speeding up. So if you're talking to one about sources of finance, there can be some very constructive and positive conversations over the next 4 weeks. Trust your instincts on every part of your chart. When it comes to making money, also be aware your past knowledge, skills, and accumulation of lots of different talents can feed into rebirthing whatever you need to do. Romantically, the flirty combination of Venus and Uranus is delicious, but so is that Jupiter in the fifth house. I don't think you've got too much to worry about there. Professionally, I think it depends on what's going on in your situation. If you are someone who's boxed into some kind of big organization where it's very regulated and that part of you that flows, maybe you should think again. It's been a pleasure being with you, Pisces. All the best and look forward to seeing you again soon.